Hello, it's Louise. I thought I'd show you my latest purchases. The weather here in southwest France has been really bad. Everybody thinks that it's lovely and warm all the time, and actually it isn't. So what I've been doing with my time is doing a lot of buying before all the antique fairs and bookons start. So one of the things I absolutely love is French cookbooks. I'm always looking for handwritten cookbooks, but they're really difficult to get. And then I came across these, and I just think these are absolutely super. They're magazines. I think they're every week, and they actually have recipes inside them. So each one is different. They're dated from 1905, which is amazing considering their age, but they have lots of recipes in them, and have these wonderful front covers with the illustrations and graphics. Some of them, I think there are some that actually got coloured fronts as well to them. But look at these, aren't they stunning? They're really nice, really different. I've not seen these before. I'm surprised I haven't. I mean, they're quite fragile, as you can see, but they also have these great advertisements on the back of them. So what I'll probably do is put these on my Etsy shops, Forever French and for French paper, and I'll probably just sell them individually, because then it gives everybody a chance to be able to buy them if they want. And you can actually then use them for crafting, or just if you're interested in cookery. They're great for a bit of French history, and also to see the type of food that was being eaten in the day. So I think those are really lovely. Those of you that follow me or follow my shops or have visited my shops will know what this copie de lettres book is all about. Those of you that don't, what they would have been used for is they would have been used as for duplicates of letters, and they are really difficult to get. It's really hard to find them these days. I have some customers actually asking me to try and find them for them, and the beauty of them is really it's the paper. The paper is like wafer thin. It's like tissue paper, and or onion skin, some of you might know it by. And the thing about this one, which is quite different, can you see here it's actually got lines drawn on it in blue. Now, I've never seen one like that before. I've had a few of these over the years, but never one with the lines on them. And I don't know if you can see up the top here, the top left hand corner is a very faint stamp, and it's actually the stamp from the notaire, which means that this would have been illegal, copies of legal letters. But just look, what I love is that some pages the ink is bold and some the ink is quite faded. This one dates from around 1914, and it has 500 of these pages. And then at the back you have a slightly thicker pink paper, and then you have this wonderful A to Z index at the back, which has all the addresses in with all the handwriting. I mean, the handwriting in France is just so neat. I mean, at schools the children are all taught to write exactly the same, and even today they do that. But that is a real find, and whenever I see a copie de lettres book, I snap it up, or I try to, because they are, as I said, they're so unique, because there might be a similar one, but they'll never be the same one as that. Now these, they look quite plain, but I absolutely love these. And the reason I love these is I love the very plain paper covers. And then inside these, I mean, look, I've had a few of these books before with the rag edge paper, but not with the illustrations. And just look at the little tissue paper that covers it. Oh, and actually that's Robespierre, and he actually was to do with the French Revolution, so which obviously these books are entitled The History of the Revolution, and they're dating 1865. Inside the paper is really quite white, surprisingly white, and the text sits right in the centre of the page with the very small type around the edges, and the type is indented into the reverse page, which is just wonderful. But I just look at the edges of these, look how uneven they are. They're just absolutely super. I love them. I mean, some people might think they look a bit scruffy, but I just love them. As I say, I love the covers. They do have staining on their spines, but you know, for the age, they are 160 years, almost 160 years old, so they're in amazing condition considering. Right, well, those of you that do follow me will know that I absolutely love really old French papers, and this is no exception. So this cover is actually a vellum cover, which is an animal skin cover, and if you look very closely you can actually see the texture on it. It has lots of writing on the front, and I've actually seen a date of 17, I think it was 17, it's very difficult to see, but 1776 possibly. It's got the original twine still on it, and then when you open it up you can just see, in fact sometimes they have writing on the inside because they reuse the paper. This is dated 1835, but in fact some of the papers inside are a lot older. And there's a whole assortment of papers contained within it. I purchased it as a whole, so I don't know whether the papers all relate to the same family, because sometimes that's what you tend to find. But you have these wonderful embossed stamps and the stamps of the notaire, which is like the lawyer or the solicitor. The writing is all different on these. Some of them, they're fairly bold, some are quite faint. Now, I don't know if you know, but on French documents, very often they will have the date in handwriting along the top. So this one actually says le 17e, which is the 17th jour, day. And then it says of juillet, which is July, and 1700, which is 1700. So this is a 1700 document. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, it's a little bit fragile now, but as you can imagine. And then if you look at the document next to it, this is quite unusual because it has a really bold ink handwriting on it. And then here it has the red stain of what would have been the wax stamp. I've not seen one quite like that before, but it really is lovely. And I like the fact that how bold that is, the ink is. And that one's dated 1814. So there's a whole selection of different documents in here, different sizes. Again, look at the stamps on these. These would have all related to the area. So that top one says Limoges, and these would have been the stamps of the notaires, and they would have been legal documents. So they could have been to do with a marriage, they could have been to do with a death, they could have been to do with the sale of land. They're all different, but just look at the age and the texture of these pieces of paper. Again, one here, 1725. So it's amazing that they've survived, and all these different signatures. And you can see where some people probably weren't used to writing, because some of the signatures are very simplistic. But these are a really super set of documents, all contained, as I say, within this leather bound folder. Right, now when I purchased these, I wasn't quite sure what I was buying, but I was drawn to them, and I hope you will like them as well. So what they are, they're actually the spines of books. Now I hasten to add, I did not cut up the books. I purchased them like this. So they're the leather spines. They're wonderful. They all have this really bold gold embossed on them, all different dates and ages. Some of them are legal books, and I think they're, as I say, dating from about 1800. There's one that actually has a date on it somewhere, I think, and it says 1920. But aren't these just super? I mean, I would just be absolutely amazed to see what some of my very, very clever customers can do with these. But I could just see them being used in a journaling project. But I couldn't resist them. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just think there's a lot of scope with these. I think they could be made into something really, really special. As I said, I don't know what happened to the interiors of the books, but those are just so different. So hopefully somebody else will think the same as me. Now, what else? I'm gonna have a look and dive into my box. Right. Oh, I have to just show you this. I couldn't resist it. It's just the most delightful little scrummy book. It's a little embossed. It's got a very sort of pale pink and gold flower embossed on the cover and the back. As you can see, it's a bit shabby. You can see how the book was made even. And it's a little religious book. I've had a few of these over the years, but they're always much bigger. And this is dated 1860. I just thought it was lovely. I mean, look again, you can see how the type is coming through from the following page. And it's just lovely. I mean, there's so much age to that, but it would have been a really well loved book. But as I say, I couldn't resist it. I've also got a collection of fashion magazines. Now these would have been weekly fashion magazines, and these are dated 1877. Look at the heading on those. Isn't that just something? I mean, it's so ornate. So this would have been something that a lady would have received once a week, and she would have sat down and it would have given her all the local information on fashion. And then inside there would have been a little bit of information on sewing and embroidery. And just look, I mean, the illustrations in this are absolutely superb. They are so, so different. And then there was a story in them, and then there's a bit of information on the back. So yeah, these are just, I've got a whole collection of these. They're all slightly different, but they're just, oh, look at the baby in the baby's cot. But they really are quite different. And again, I will be putting these online, and I will just sell them as individual copies. But I think they're just so different. It was really the headings that drew me to them, because they're just so ornate. So yeah, so I've actually got more boxes to show you, but I think that's quite enough for today. But I hope you've enjoyed looking at some of my new purchases, which will soon be available on my shops. Thank you. Bye.